welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Shalini and I make videos about technology, data science, professional development advice, and more. SQL is an important language to know if you're interested in data or data science. In previous videos, I've talked about learning SQL, and part of that learning process is understanding syntax and making mistakes. As with any programming language, there are certain quirks about SQL and different areas where you could make errors. Here are some interesting things I found out about when using SQL and some common mistakes that you should look out for. So first off, you want to make sure that you know the difference between the having keyword and the where keyword. They do very similar things because with both of these keywords, you can filter the data using a condition in order to get a certain output that you want. However, what you are actually filtering is different based on which keyword you use. You can only use the having keyword if you use the group by keyword. Both group by and having go together, and this is because the having keyword works on aggregated or grouped data. The where keyword, on the other hand, works on row data, not aggregated. In other words, we use where to filter rows and we use having to filter groups. The next thing to look out for is the difference between union and union all. Both of these keywords are used to concatenate or combine two or more result sets. Basically, we can write multiple select statements and combine the results of all of those select statements using union or union all. There is a slight difference between both of these keywords though. Let's say that we have two SQL queries and we have the results from those queries. If we use union to combine those results, only the unique records will be outputted as the result. If we use union all, then we would get all of the records, including duplicates. Union all keeps all of the records from the original queries, hence the word all. What union does behind the scenes instead is it performs a sorting operation and then removes the duplicate rows before returning the combined query result. As a separate note, in order to use union or union all, your data has to be in a certain format. In each of the queries that you want to combine, you need to be selecting the same columns. Those same columns need to be in the same order, and they also have to have similar data types as well. Another gotcha in SQL comes from aggregate functions and how they handle null values. In SQL, we have different aggregate functions that we can use, like count, average, sum, and more. If we have a column that has some null values in it, for the most part, applying these aggregate functions will just ignore the null values. Let's say, as an example, that we had a column of 10 records. 3 of those records are null and the other 7 are not. If we do an average of that column, it will calculate the average for the 7 values that are not null. A similar process happens for other aggregate functions as well. They will just look at the 7 values that are not null and calculate the aggregate based on that. An interesting aggregate function to look at is the count function. If we do count of the column, it will count the number of rows that are not null. So in this example, it would be 7. However, if we do count star or count asterisk, SQL will count the total number of rows, including null values. So in our example, the result would be 10. So knowing the behavior of these aggregate functions and how they deal with null values can be helpful based on what you might come across in the future. Another interesting SQL quirk is with the between operator. So with the between operator, you can select values within a certain range, whether it's text, numbers, or dates. For example, if you wanted to filter your data that way you only have records from between 2 dates, you could do select column names from table where column name between date 1 and date 2. So in some programming languages like Python, for example, you have the range function where the beginning value is inclusive and the ending value is exclusive. With SQL between, both the beginning and the end values are inclusive. This is something to watch out for, especially if you're used to working with other languages, because you might get duplicates in SQL otherwise. To use between in an example, let's say that we have sales data and we want to get all the sales that happened in 2020. You might be tempted to write a query where the date is between January 1st, 2020 and January 1st, 2021. However, this will also get the data for the first day of 2021 as well. To only get the 2020 data, we would want to do where date between January 1st, 2020, and December 31st, 2020. The last thing I'll mention today, which you should definitely watch out for, is the order of your keywords in your SQL query. SQL has a very specific query structure, which means that if anything is out of order, you might get an error. The simplest SQL statement uses select from, and from there you can add different keywords and use them as long as they are in the right order. For reference, here is the right order that you would want to use. So those were a few common SQL errors I've made and I've seen other people make in the past. As I always say in my SQL videos, the best way to get familiar with these SQL gotchas, keywords, and SQL in general is to practice writing queries and running them, so definitely try it out. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and tips and advice, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye!